Good morning, Africa, wherever you are across the continent of Africa. Thank you very much for watching Punchline Africa Television. I believe you have been enjoying the first show that was conducted by Miriam, my co-host, and our senior anchor and senior editor in that place. Right in Nairobi studios, thank you very much. Good morning, Miriam.
Very good morning to you, Doc. Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to our panelists. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where our viewers are tuned in this day.
All the way from across the continent of Africa, from Tripoli up to Cape Town, Cairo, Abuja, Asmara, in Eritrea, across Addis Ababa, headquarters of African Union. Wherever you are watching us, this is Diplomatic Leaks. This is a show that goes behind the diplomatic lines to find out what diplomats think about Africa. What do they do behind the scenes, which we don't know. This week is a great week that His Excellency, the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Kenya, Honorable Raila Odinga'S visited United Kingdom. Contrary to the reports that came out, his visit has paid quite a lot of respect and brought dignity to the foreign policy of Kenya. His visit has been seen as statesmanship. It has actually delivered Kenya at the center of balancing what exactly is it just populism, populist policies versus diplomatic policies that can enhance the politics of Africa. This is what we want to interrogate this morning. And with me on the panel is Engineer Otieno Pande, who is a very good analyst around town and a very strong supporter of internationalism, transparency, governance, and across the great region. Engineer Otieno, good morning. Open up. Mute and unmute.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Sorry. How are you today? I'm happy to be with you and happy to sit again. At least today I will stop talking from the beginning. Yesterday I listened. Miriam, I'm very sorry.
Let me introduce you. That is any word that you want to say, hold the fire. Let me finish the panel, then you come in, engineer.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And yes, say.
No, I'm just saying, okay, yes.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you very much. Kiruku, where are you? This time today, what is going on there? Good morning.
Good morning to Dr. David Matsanga. Good morning to Miriam. Good morning to my co-panelist Daniel. Good morning to Engineer Otieno. Today I'm in Langata constituency, and it is sunny and peaceful.
Indeed, I can see the sunshine across the bridge. There is no worry. Let's have that coming now. Our man on the ground, investigative journalist, senior man himself, Daniel Wesonga. Are you in Langata also, or in the palatial homes of Karen? Because these days Mercedes-Benz is going to go in Karen. Good morning.
Very, very good morning, Dr. Matsanga David. Good morning to my colleague Miriam Ogutu at our headquarters in Nairobi. Good morning to my brother, Engineer Otieno Pande. Good morning to my sister, Gladwell Kiragu, and our viewers here in Nairobi, Kenya, East Africa, and the rest of the globe. Today, I'm just moving around the city. Of course, you saw yesterday the president checking on the projects, legacy projects, and you understand we have a number of them across the city. So I'm going to be reporting on whatever is happening in terms of the hospitals that have been built by NMS and other projects, including boreholes and other amenities that have been built to elevate those living in the slum areas of Nairobi.
Thank you very much. That's your project. And Gladwell, just prepare your project where you are in the position. Let's begin. Let's go back to Miriam. Miriam, introduce the topic for us. And then throw the baton to me.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'll just, because the story of Raila's tour in the UK has been captured in the all leading newspapers in the country, so I'll just read from one of them, and I'll read from the Daily Nation, page 6. Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga has said he will retain President Uhuru Kenyatta as an advisor and renegotiate Kenya's loans should he form the next government. Mr. Odinga, who is competing with Deputy President William Ruto in the August 9th presidential poll, said there is a lot President Kenyatta can do. I'm looking forward to his guidance on different matters such as business, diplomacy and others, Mr. Odinga told BBC in an interview. He is on a 10-day tour of the United Kingdom. Mr. Odinga said he will be consulting Mr. Kenyatta the same way the head of state has been seeking advice from him during his second time in office. He said the other option of President Kenyatta will be an appointment as a diplomat in the African Union. This could fuel speculation that Mr. Odinga may hand the retiring president an active role in his government. There have been reports that President Kenyatta could be named prime minister in the event of the constitutional change through the Building Bridges initiative. But President Kenyatta has in the past insisted he will head into retirement. The constitution doesn't bar him from holding other position if he is appointed. And of course, there are several other things that Raila Odinga said, that is Kenya's opposition leader, which we shall be looking at as we continue with the
man in the market can see the truth. The figures are showing. Even if you go to those battlegrounds, Ruto will not get us. Ruto will not defeat us. And anybody outside there from President Museveni, from who listen to me, watch me, and watch my lips, Your Excellency, you know me, where I've gone, where I've always said and stood firm. That is the right place I am going. I'm saving you a lot of difficulties of foreign policy. Don't bring a man in Kenya who is going to bring us problems. The only person in Kenya who can unite this country is Raila Odinga'S, Your Excellency. And listen to me, sir. We might disagree on a number of things, but there are things that we have agreed with you. We agreed and finished the peace process, and the peace is in Uganda. Is there any more gun? No. So listen to me and watch me. It's up to you, Your Excellency. It's a clear example. I'm telling you, Ruto is not a very good man for this place. Ruto will dismember this nation. Ruto will bring us more chaos. We shall be coming with more and more fire, water to pour on fire. For me, President Uhuru Kenyatta, where he goes is where I go. Miriam, I'm glad you have mentioned this question of African envoy. We are going there. Our AU has been captured. And I will be the first person to set an office in AU with Kenyatta, so that we recapture our African Union. I will help him as my brother, also to show him African unity, that our African Union was captured by the French. We want to return it to Africans. So that is not a problem. Uhuru Kenyatta is not vying for any position in the country. Uhuru Kenyatta is simply, if Kibaki was able to walk, was able to fly, he would be giving advice lectures across the world. Obama is giving lectures across the world to earn a living. Some of us are preparing for the way forward. Dr. Matsanga is in that team of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta that is going ahead. We are not looking back, but we want to leave a formidable government. A government in Kenya that can understand the problems of the people of Kenya. That is the point. You can go to hell, you can go to a transformer and look for a transformer, and you burn yourself if you don't like what I'm talking about, and if you don't like Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta has set a program for us. Uhuru Kenyatta has set peace. You talk about elections. The diplomats listening to this have attacked the British High Commissioner to listen to my speech. If the intelligence is not gathering for you, the newspaper has done it for you. The remaining of those battlegrounds, they belong to Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and Raila Odinga'S. Show me one of them that belongs to him. This guy boasts of only these few MPs. Some of these MPs might not come back. Some of these MPs who are strangers, they are now strangers in their own house. These MPs are strangers. The house is full of strangers. It cannot make a law. There is nobody who is going to agree to the law as from Tuesday. Any of the MPs making a law and it will be challenged in court. So I don't think they will defeat Raila Odinga. The figures are speaking. I tell you, you can call me a madman, you can call me a refugee, you can call me all the names. I'm not bothered. A refugee who's like me, it must be very powerful refugee then. Because refugees always who come from Turkey, like a Boris Yeltsin, Boris Johnson was a refugee. His father came as a Turkish. He ended up being a prime minister of United Kingdom. Hello? So, for me, Raila Odinga'S suggestion of giving advisory role and advisor to his government, that is what we want. A continuation on infrastructure, on food security, on manufacturing. These are the legacy of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. President Mahama of Ghana, as I finish, Miriam, President Mahama of Ghana is today giving advice to President Aldo and Nana Addo. They are giving each other advice. President Johnson, good luck, is even telling Babangida, Mohammed Babangida, that please, this country, not Babangida, Buhari, he said, please, this country needs rearrangement. There's a need to sit down and talk to these younger men who have come out. Biafrans want a state. What do we do? That is the type of democracy that we want in Africa. The type of democracy that has developed in Tanzania, where Lindu is back in Tanzania today. A man who told me that over his dead body, he can't go to Tanzania when Samia Suluhu is the president. On the first day when Magufuli died, I was told that on TV. Today he has shaken hands, he's taken up his property, he's driving in Dar es Salaam. That is the politics. But the politics of Ruto is very, very dangerous politics. Miriam, I submit. Therefore, Raila's statement, Raila's diplomatic channel, Raila's is, and another thing before I go, Raila is open, frank, is not a liar. He hasn't lied. He can't lie like Ruto lied to us. Okay? Raila, look at it. He has not lied of any pictures. But we have been seeing pictures of Mr. Ruto, which are fake pictures. But Ruto's diplomacy was a disaster. I think it was, to me, can I tell you what? It was not a trip for Ruto, it was a trip for concubining. I don't want to go much because Engineer is here. As an editor, I will keep it quiet. But it was a group for concubines to accompany His Excellency, the Right Honorable Dr. William Ruto for concubining activities. You see, Miriam, there's something very strange in Africa. A woman forgotten behind when you are going for a war, and that woman is supposed to support you. It means you don't have her at heart. A Ugandan woman will never forgive you. If it was my wife, by now the notice of departure engineer would have been sent in the post Kiruga. I would be having a post looking for other ways. How will I get another key? A key in order to open the house, because she would say, please, that is it. It means you don't have her at heart. But my submission, therefore, is Raila's journey was fruitful. And this journey of Ruto was a mess, was a shamble, was a diplomatic zero. out of 1 to 10, Ruto's journey took 2 marks out of 10. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Matanga. And perhaps we look at some of the key things, issues that came up during Raila Odinga'S visit and his talk at Chatham House. I watched a part of that, and perhaps what DP's visit was last week and the issues that he raised. So both of them spoke about corruption, and of course the DP, the last we heard, he said the fight against corruption in the country has been weaponized and has been used as a witch hunt against the people who are against the government. But this was Raila's reply yesterday. Raila said President Uhuru Kenyatta was being undermined by Deputy President William Ruto, who had politicized the war against graft, making it difficult for him, Uhuru, to tackle corruption in government. I don't have this baggage and I will be coming with clean hands, he said. Engineer Otieno, what is your response or your thoughts on this matter of corruption and how the two leaders responded to it?
Yeah, ladies, two of them, and gentlemen, Dr. Masanga, our good brother, I'm now told is a freelance journalist, Mr. Dan Besonga. Gladwell, Bob, you're also there. You're in Langata today. That is my area of voting. And Miriam, the host, I'm happy to be with you today. And I think today I will start talking from the onset, and we'll talk as I learn how you've been talking until the end. Looking at what Raila and DP Ruto went to do in the UK, because the topic today is talking about the visit to the United Kingdom. I don't want to look at it from what happened. I want to look at it as a destination initially. Raila chose to start visiting the United Kingdom, while William Ruto, the DP, our current deputy president, and that is what it is, went to the US, and he went to the UK after the US. So that one, in my mind, from the onset, it was not advising me on how foreign policies and how to articulate our local issues are supposed to be done. Because one, we remember, we were colonized by the Britain. So any wise leader trying to garner and fetch votes for election of the 2022 should have started by who colonized Kenya. So that is why when we read what was happening and when we watched what was happening during the Ruto's tour, we sat down, some of us who are close to the former Prime Minister and can actually pass 1 or 2 messages to him. We said it is very, very much critical that he goes soon after the Deputy President lands back to Kenya. And we've been taking quite a lot of time for the last 3 days, reading through what Raila is answering and is speaking out there on behalf of Kenya, and that one that William Ruto spoke and was answering on behalf of Kenya. There's a big contrast on the elementary basic topic, which is the corruption. We all know the beginning of corruption in this country. It didn't begin today, neither did it begin yesterday. Corruption began when the former President Daniel Arap Toroitich Moi was in power. So it is not new. It is there with us, and it has been there with us. Challenge is now, how do we tackle matters corruption? And if I answer to your question, it goes about, and I will put it like this, it is a matter of defining what is actuality of the state of fighting corruption in Kenya and an illusion approach towards it. Well, I want to be very, very non-partisan today. Much as I vouch and I support Raila Odinga'S presidency, it is fair to be a good judge sometimes. William Ruto went out there speaking about the efforts that have been made by the president to fight corruption in a manner of this demeanor. He went out there to say President Uhuru Kenyatta has weaponized. Some of us, we are good in weapons, and we know what weaponization is. We would want to challenge how the fight against corruption is weaponized when agencies that are investigating corruption are coming up with cases. Some of them, even the president do not know. I remember the KEMSA, the COVID-19 billionaires, as it is publicly mentioned. It touched all the way, names being thrown away, and inside, that goes all the way to the president's family. President himself was very firm, saying that even if it is my brother, go arrest him and let them prove themselves in court. And we remember at one time, the very, very vocal supporter of President Uhuru Kenyatta, Honorable, the former Member of Parliament, Honorable David Murade, was put to task. He was even taken to the Parliamentary Select Committee to put records straight on his performance and involvement in the COVID-19 supposedly scandal. And the people that have been arraigned in court have actually been either freed on bond or subjected to really explain their participation in the corruption. And I remember in the heyday, President Uhuru Kenyatta said, it will begin by us. We are going to do a lifestyle audit. Soon as after the president said the lifestyle audit, his deputy, second in command in Kenya, went out and started fighting this. That time Raila was out of government as he is now, and he was not consulting closely with the president. He only shook hands. Neither Uhuru or Kenyatta or Raila had come out to explain to even us who are close to them what exactly they shook hands and they agreed on. Ruto went out against it. So going out to the UK, William Ruto speaking about weaponization of corruption, fighting corruption in Kenya, to me, I would cluster it as an illusion. Something that you tell a guest who has not come home to know the internal happenings within your locality, a lie that it is a weaponized approach. Well, on the answer or the part of my boss and my friend, Raila Odinga, he now went out there to explain himself. First of all, Raila is coming in as a non-corrupt person. He's not a priest in this, but he's not corrupt. If at all there is any case that has been put up before him, I can't remember. But he went to explain how the approach has been initiated by the head of state and has actually been fought by none other than his deputy, who says now this is not the right way, without giving solutions to how we should handle and manage our corruption challenges within the country. So to me, I think in brief, one of them scored an A and one of them didn't score anything near a B.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Engineer Gladwell Kiruga. I don't know what is your thoughts on how the two leaders responded to the matters corruption at the same forum at Chatham House yesterday. Raila was Honorable Raila was, responding to the questions and how Ruto did last time. Gladwell.
Thank you, Miriam. On what they both said, I would say that Raila.
Could you excuse me? Sorry. Mute your device. Sorry. Could you look for a location that perhaps is a bit quieter and maybe the reception is better, and then I'll get back to you because there seems to be a bit of a feedback noise there that is disrupting the whole broadcast. So could you do that? And then I'll come back to you after Daniel Wesonga. Daniel, what appears when I was listening to Raila Odinga speak yesterday, he seems to be on a cleanup exercise and what you would call a damage control over some of the things that Ruto said last week. And one of them was corruption. How do you think he handled answering the issues of corruption and compared to what Ruto did last time?
Thank you so much, Miriam. And of course, I've heard whatever my brother, Engineer Odinga'S has talked about, and I absolutely agree with him. When you look at Raila Odinga, he is a politician who has matured in both temperament and also political intuition. And over time, Raila has grown to become, or maybe to carve a niche for himself, whereby he has been known as a statesman in this country. Any big politician in this country, any long-serving politician in this country will tell you that Raila is a very, very mature person, even the way he talks, the way he handles matters. And even during when he was actively in the opposition politics, there are issues which he could actually be able to maybe point out from government, and he will do so with giving ideas and maybe alternatives on how they could be done much better. And he always operated within the realms of the law and the constitution, even in going out there to demonstrate on the streets. he always adhered to what provision is there in the constitution. And therefore, Miriam, I believe even the people who are listening to him in Chatham House, and also the dignitaries that he met in the UK, were able to see a leader out of Raila Odinga. Unlike what they saw the other week, a very, very bitter dealer, a bitter man who has a lot of scores to settle with his boss, a man who is even bitter with his opponents, who went there instead of telling the people in the UK and the US whatever he wants to do while elected in government, he went there to barrage and actually talk ill about his opponents, saying that they do not have an agenda. And I think that really failed him big time. And there's something important when a man or maybe a leader of a stature of a deputy president actually starts to accustom themselves to maybe international relations and diplomacy and how to carry yourself out on the international platform, Miriam. Going to the US and calling the SG for Kotu, Francis Atwoli, an idiot. That was the law that the deputy president could ever go in an international maybe podium, because I believe a leader should be magnanimous enough to be able to filter out some issues, no matter how bitter they are about a certain individual, no matter how much they disagree about a certain opinion. Some things are better not said than said, Miriam. Okay. And I believe that is why William Ruto, perhaps to me, performed very dismally compared to Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga is very, very diplomatic. Even in tackling of the question, he was very, very diplomatic. He seemed to know whatever he intended to do for the people of Kenya. Remember, he has been running for presidency. This is the 5th time. And in all these contestations, he has always had a very, very consistent manifesto for what he wanted to do for the people of Kenya. Remember, this is a multi-party democracy proponent. He fought for the free speech that we are enjoying today. He fought for the multi-party that we are having today. He fought even for the devolution and the new constitution that we have today. Mm-hmm. And therefore, even yesterday when William Ruto said that Raila Odinga has never slept hungry, I was really, really, really perturbed, because this is the same man who spent 9 years in incarceration. This is the same man who slept hungry in Nyayo torture chambers because he had been denied bail, and the mother had died, and he was facing a lot of peril in the confines of jail, which had actually been imposed on him by the Nyayo regime. And at this time, William Ruto was actually in YK 92, which was doing the exact opposite, plundering the public coffers, whereas purging the proponents of the multi-party democracy. So, Miriam, here we have two individuals whose
Go ahead.
gender, manifesto, temperament, and even idea are stark opposite of each other. One is a reformist, very progressive, magnanimous, a patriot, and a statesman, whereas another one is a profiteer, a man who has never fought for anything in this country, intensely corrupt, and very, very combative and corrosive to the state machineries. So, Miriam, I believe Raila Odinga went there while he was himself, and he gave the best that he could ever have done in such a podium, Miriam. I submit.
Okay, thank you so much. A lot of issues that you've raised there. Gladwell, Kiruga, I don't know if you're at a better place now, and at all, if you can hear me, good morning. And please,
Hello, Miriam. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, much better.
About the talk on corruption, what our former Prime Minister said, that he promised to save the loopholes and to generate the revenue. I agree on that because he has been in the government, so he knows best. And he also said that our Kenyan people need to be uplifted and empowered to be self-reliant. Unlike our deputy president, who is promising that the only thing that they can do is for us to embrace the bottom-up economy. I also agree with what Honorable Raila said, that the DP has no transparency and hence has got so much questionable track record. And so as we see, corruption both falls. Mm-hmm. As we can see, corruption is more so being directed to our deputy president. We also see that most of most of his colleagues, that is the Anway Gurus who got the NYS scandal, himself, the Kimorel Dam. And another thing, Ruto said that he has been spending 100 million per month in fundraising. Well, we all know that his salary is 2 million. So our question is, where does he get the money from? I submit.
Okay, and maybe Dr. Matsanga could have an answer to that.
Where does he get the money from? Kiruga, you are now becoming a journalist. You could explain to us, where does he get this money from? I think the money is got from all the deals. The deals that, while the President Uhuru Kenyatta was going to get money, there is nothing wrong with borrowing. There is no state on earth which does not borrow. Unless you have never gone to school, you stopped outside the school, then we can talk. But every state, including Britain, where I live, where I've lived, where I continue living, if you miss paying tax for 1 cent, they will take you to prison for 7 years. They borrow. No state in the world which does not borrow, that state must be in heaven, which we don't know where it exists. Because even if you go up miles, millions, there is nobody who has ever counted how many miles. Engineer is here, he's an engineer. Can he tell us how many miles up before you reach heaven? We don't know. We don't know. So when you come up and say, hey, I am very clear. This guy, Uhuru Kenyatta, used to go for money from China. What Ruto used to do was to wait. And the Ruto used to steal money like this. For me, you know, different on this panel, I talk my mind. What can he do? What? If he comes, let him come around face to face with me. We shall see who will go down. Yes, because I'm heavy. You can't beat me anyhow. And I'm a soldier. And as a soldier who left with a rank, I don't care. I tell the truth. People here are not telling the truth. Ruto got Mr. Gicheru, Paul Gicheru, and they put Gicheru in procurement board. Mr. Gicheru was in the procurement board to see the tenders that the government was giving out. Mr. Ichungwa was the man in charge of budgeting. Mr. Ichungwa would increase the money in education sector. Ruto would tell PS Kabsang, you see how your money was being eaten now? PS Kabsang has left the Ministry of Education. There is a bill of textbooks. Ruto talks about KEMSA. Why can't he talk about the textbooks? Hallelujah! And they went and made a mistake in textbooks. You know how much we lost? Wasn't it 1 billion shillings? You remember those textbooks? Who was buying the textbooks? Who was printing the textbooks? William Samoei Ruto Company. These are hardcore facts, which Kenyans should be told in this campaign. So don't run and say, well, Miriam was saying, Kiruga is saying, where was the money? The money was coming from there. Paulo Gicheru, the knife has caught him. The 70 witnesses making submission, was it yesterday or today? It's going on right now. We might be talking with a fugitive. Ruto will be a fugitive by May. Because the knife that is carrying, look here, Miriam. If I were Ruto, I would compose myself, go to the bedroom with my wife and ask one thing, Mom, are we all right? You have been mentioned 874 times in a trial. 874 times in a trial. And when I talk about ICC, don't ever underrate me, because I'm the only king on ICC who dismantles it every time. So all their secrets, I know them also. Don't ask me how, but I know them. Wesonga knows I know. Otieno knows. And we know, I know how, I have been there against them. I know what is coming for Ruto. You are talking with a man who might not be on the ballot. If Gicheru's case, and the net Kenyans here, if Gicheru's case goes against him, there is no stupid judge in the world of a court of international repute who will fail to summon or to issue a warrant for a man who has been adversely mentioned in the media throughout the trial for her 874 times. If I were Ruto, I would begin talking to Uhuru Kenyatta very nicely. Because Mr. Ruto, if that warrant lands here, the way you are insulting this Ngina son, the way you are insulting Ngina son, nobody will stop you being put on the plane and going, because you will be a fugitive. ICC has got extradition order with, you don't need to apply any papers. You don't need, you know that ICC has a direct, you know ICC is direct in your system. You Kenyans don't read the law and don't know the constitution at times. Did you know that, Miriam, you are already in the system? You have domesticated the ICC in the International Crimes Act. So if ICC requests for a suspect of a high degree called William Samoei Ruto, he will be handed over like a common man in criminal court. Because either Ruto goes to bush like a Konyi, avoids that warrant, but he's a high man who can be picked by the government and hand over to the plane, and he goes to answer. You are not committing a crime against a state. You have committed a crime against a court. And no, not US, not superpower, not nuclear weapon can stop any court in the world if you have tried to kill a judge or destroy a witness in a court. My dear Miriam, Kiruga, Otieno, and Daniel Wesonga, it will be the end of the day. So we are talking of this election. Let me tell you, and hopefully this case of Gicheru comes before nomination. And I want to prepare you, Kenyans. Mnataka kusikia kagine, niwapatie kadogo. Prepare you. You might not have this election. Because if he has been nominated and he is not on ballot, then we go to back. Automatically, Ngina's son still remains in power until further notice. You see that, Otieno, you see that fiasco coming ahead? Because if Ruto is already nominated, Kiruga, listen to this. If he's nominated as a candidate and something happens, the whole election becomes a problem. Because that you have to go back and reprint the ballot papers. You see where the problem is? You have to print. If the UDA party has now selected, it has to go back to the process again to select a flag bearer. So don't think you can insult Uhuru up to the moon, but please, if I were to sit down and think, the same Uhuru that you are insulting could be the savior. It is up to the president of that country to say, no, I'm not handing over this suspect. Luckily enough, Uhuru and I were on the same wavelength on ICC. But the situation where you have turned on Uhuru and you are insulting him daily, even in telling him names, the guy will simply say, Mr. Karim Khan, and in fact, Karim Khan will carry this guy very nicely. He was his lawyer, but he will carry him nicely, because if Karim Khan interferes, it is not even Karim Khan who will come for Mr. William Ruto. It is Stuart, the deputy law prosecutor of the ICC. You can see where the case is going. So the money was got from Ichungwa, Duale, Ichungwa, Paulo Gicheru. If you are looking for how this man committed every contract that came pipeline, where it comes to public procurement process, where they see that the money is not good enough, Otieno, they used to increase the money. Then Ruto sends his son or his relatives to go there and say, now, get me my percentage. Kindiki and Murkomen gets a helicopter to go from Mombasa to Naivasha pipeline to where collecting this money. Skyrocket guys who used to collect money on behalf of Ruto. That is how we lost money. That's how Ruto made his kingdom of money. Some of the money was banked in Uganda with individuals. And I want to repeat here, with individuals, not with President Museveni. And I'm stating here, some people might wonder, oh, this, no. This guy has been doing business with individuals in Uganda whom we have identified. And in one near future, we are going to narrate the story to you, who they are. One of them is already exposed, Harun Eyadin, a terrorist who trains a school where terrorists. Have you seen the pictures of terrorists who have been captured in, by the way, Otieno, this is the diplomatic thing. Have you seen the pictures, Miriam, of terrorists who have been captured in Congo?
Yes.
Yeah.
They are Islamists.
Yes.
They are Islamists. They are Turkish.
Yeah.
So you tell me Matsanga was wrong to tell you that Harun Ayadid is connected to the training of terrorists. Let Ruto pick a plane and go to Uganda now. Go there. Ruto, ambia Moses Kuria and these stupid people here, not me. Where pick a plane and go to Uganda. Uganda is waiting for you. So every day you say you're a friend of President Museveni. Go there now. We have evidence of terrorists coming from Turkey, sponsored by the Turkish government, who were killing us as Ugandans in Congo. Who was training them? Harun Eyadin. So you tell me. Enda huko. So Miriam, the money was got that way. And let's be very frank, Raila Odinga, you will not find any bad, unless you want just to smear it on him. Mm-hmm. But you will not find Raila Odinga has accumulated money from dubious means. I have not seen it. I have not. I knew Raila from 1982 up to today. But I have never found a skeleton of corruption. We might, sometime we disagree as brothers on the modus operandi. One of the disagreements that made me disagree with Raila was at the beginning he liked my opponent who is Museveni at the beginning, but later on he realized I was the one who was right because I was on his own side fighting for the same thing like in Kenya. That's why Ogwambo can never insult me. He has never insulted me. Have you ever seen all these people insulting me? He doesn't, because there's respect. I met him way back in Stockholm. All that in Europe, we are flying looking for democracy. And that's the man I want to leave a legacy. I'm now 67, I will go home. When Raila is president in Kenya, I will go home very nicely. Come back here, have my tea, because I no longer drink alcohol. If I want to drink alcohol, I will come back for my prison and Wesonga will buy it and Otieno will buy it in plenty. But I don't drink alcohol, Miriam.
Yes.
And Miriam will welcome me and give me some chapati. Thank you.
I'll give you some water. Water is life, Doc. Now, another issue that stood out, in the visit of Raila Odinga and the talk he had yesterday at Chatham House, and the one Deputy President Dr. William Ruto had last week at the same venue, is the issue of handshake. And if we can recall, he said the handshake caused a great disruption in the running of the government and messed up the Big Four agenda. And he spent a sizable amount of time criticizing the handshake and lamenting of what the handshake, changed in terms of delivery and in terms of President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. But, President Uhuru Kenyatta has a different version of how he views the handshake. Matter of fact, several occasions he has said that since the handshake, he sleeps easy and he's been able to carry out his work and he's so much at peace. But anyway, so this is what Raila said yesterday in line with the handshake. He went back and recalled what necessitated the handshake in 2018. Fighting and a lot of lives were lost. The country was on the brink of disintegration. That is really what compelled me to negotiate with President Kenyatta and agree on a truce, he said. Mr. Odinga also dismissed Dr. Ruto's assertions that the opposition and government are two peas in a pod. He criticized the DP for spending 114.4 million Kenya shillings, that is an equivalent of $1 million US, during his recent visit to the United States and United Kingdom. There cannot be a government in opposition. He is traveling with government security. Everything is done for him officially. I have to pay my airfare to come here, and with all the people who have come with me, none of them have been paid for by the government, Raila said. The Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate said his mission is to only continue the positive things from President Kenyatta's administration and not inherit the negative. But the issue of handshake, and Raila yesterday, dismissed some of the things that the deputy had said about it last week, and because the deputy also had said that the opposition was in government and government was in opposition, so it was very difficult to tell apart the two, and that was not working very well for our democracy. Engineer Otieno, what are your thoughts on the issue of handshake and how these two leaders talked about it?
Thank you very much, Miriam, for having me again on this as the first panelist to explain your second point. Number one, I will also remind us again that soon as the deputy president, we did have a problem him being cleared by the state through the Foreign Affairs Ministry to travel abroad, because that is the law, and those are not just privileges, they are accorded privileges which comes with the office of a deputy president in our constitution today. But we had a problem with having presented the true position of whatever it is in Kenya out there, and that is what it is as regards the foreign policy and foreign engagement. We started listening to Ruto the very, very moment he landed into the United States by putting down the list of places he was to visit and the people he was to address, which includes the Kenyan community. And we thought very quickly, and I think I'm privileged to inform you that I put together about 10 aspects, a reason as to why President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga should travel very fast to the foreign world in toe and tail to every places that William Ruto visited, to put clarity, and we go back to where we say actuality versus illusional state of the nation to the foreign and outside the world and people who are living out there who are Kenyan natives and the citizens of Kenya. We now looked very clearly. Point number 3 was to go narrate how Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, the newly found friend, to go out there and narrate how they thought it was very important and key to come together. Handshake is just a theme they gave the genesis of their talk. But there's a background narration around what it came to be before they shook hands. These people went on negotiations. They went down on a question and answer. They went down on a soul searching. They went down on looking deep into the problems that the country is facing each and after every elections of the 5 years. And a transitional period where government changes hands from one president to the other, that the problems keep on coming after every transitional change and regime change and elections. So it was not just a handshake. I find it very, very shallow. All right, we are educated, but not all of us are educated. We go to school, some of us go to school to finish a study program, and some of us to go to school to attain knowledge, and we use knowledge to benefit us. It disturbs me as an individual to really find a person in the level of a deputy president of a republic to pick one verb or one adjective called a handshake. It was not a handshake, it was an agreement between protagonists, a ruling elite versus an opposition to come together for the sake of a nation. So when you go out there to speak or to answer to it, you must present the true position. Soon as William Ruto landed into the land of milk and honey, as people think, I don't think anymore it is. He went out and started blaming his government, where he is a second in command, saying problems facing Kenya today in a very good worded statement making and a good tone, a tone of a conman, a tone of a thief, a tone of a liar, say we blame it on handshake. So you hear somebody who's trying to pick a dialect of the foreign world, some of us we've been there, we didn't pick it, and use it against a factual presentation as it is in the country. Forgetting to remember that the president has come out very clearly saying, not only having informed my deputy, I was on record telling him that my people are dying. That is where I want to now come into the issue of the handshake and why it should be true. It is important that it should be narrated out there as it is, but you look at why it came back. It came before it was conceived, a handshake. People are dying. None of the Luos are doing business in the CBDs. City streets of Nairobi is heavily occupied by members of the group of community who are doing business. And that is the true position. I am a Luo. Luos we buy. We don't know how to sell. We are not good in selling. So Uhuru Kenyatta seeing his people being killed every Monday. And William Ruto is busy pumping tear gas and water cannons to kill people. And people kill each other. We remember there was a hashtag business community. People wearing uniforms and killing each other. The president saw it fit. I am the president now. I've taken the oath of office to protect everyone, including my own people. He went out and said, I cannot stop. I have to talk to this individual. Before William Ruto could go to the US to start speaking lies about handshake, he should have already come out by then to tell Kenyans what he answered his boss when his boss saying he's going to talk to Raila Odinga. We never invited. Raila was not ready to talk to Uhuru. We never even invited this president and his jubilee to come talk to us. We were so proud and bitter. But we allowed our leader to go out there to engage in a talk with a person we perceived had stolen his election. So that is a sacrifice. It takes every dog to think that where they poop is where food is thrown. But it takes a wise man to think where the mistake comes from is where I need to go back to make a solution to that mistake. So that is where wisdom prevailed and Uhuru Kenyatta went out there. So the moment we started hearing William Ruto saying very, very reckless statements about handshake, blaming a total democratic regime called Jubilee government on the handshake, we thought very fast and we ejected Raila Odinga from this country to go out there and speak the truth, because it is him who shook hands with the president and it is not us. Some of us, it was too difficult to conceive that Raila Odinga is going to a table of discussion with a ruling party that we thought and we heavily believe had rigged itself to power. So the handshake part has given us an opportunity, plus the party leader, His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, to explain the inception which is unique in Africa, where winner takes it all. A loser comes, whichever way they lose, comes back to his senses and talks about the benefits of agreeing to work with the ruling party that has ever either won an election or has been inaugurated through deception for the sake of the nation. Mm-hmm. And that is very key. And little do we know, maybe I need to bring us to speed, that many of the African countries today and most of the developed world are flocking to Kenya. You might not be told on the public forum that they are coming to Kenya to learn about two things: how the vote function is working in this country, and how we keep on going into elections, we fight, and very soon after, we come to peace and normalcy, and we work together for the sake of the nation. In Uganda next door, where my doctor friend is coming from, is a brutal dictator who's living and ruling by the might. Not every Uganda is living comfortable as I live today. They are struggling. There's a bit of poverty in some parts of Uganda because there's dictatorship. Where somebody thinks they won the election, they become now the president, they rule by the might. Raila is out there and he has successfully narrated how they came to work together with the president of the Republic of Kenya through the much publicized handshake, and how this handshake has worked well for the people. And I dare to say, the ODM, much as the handshake has brought peace to this country, ODM wing of the the handshake, which is headed by Raila Odinga, did not benefit more than the Jubilee. Jubilee found a forum to start putting together its policies, to roll out policies. Jubilee found peace for the protagonist communities, members from the community, members from the Kalenjin communities, who are actually either benefiting or losing out of this fight. Mind you, we know the communities were being fought heavily, were non-Kikuyus, non-Kalenjins, during the war of the resist. And these communities that paid the price of being killed and maimed on the city streets, and also disrupting businesses and destroying properties of the other community, did not benefit of the handshake. The handshake has brought peace on the city streets. People are now doing business. People are now incurring and paying their bills and building up revenues. So Raila went out there to explain, whereas it is a handshake, that this individual is saying it is a lie, is a reason as to why his government, which he still serves, has not performed in terms of development and recovery of economy. It is none further than the truth. It has brought peace. The president, even his life, he has become more healthy. It is evident the president is peaceful. That's why he can drive to Kenyatta Market and have a bite of fish.
And the peace, the peace has been reflecting. Yes, and Otieno, just before you conclude, because I want to go to the next panelist, but before that, you've mentioned the issue of, you could not even fathom Raila Odinga having that handshake. It was troublesome for knowing, what had happened, the dynamics that had led to that. And you used very interesting words there, proud and bitter. And we saw how that, played out. Would you say the handshake, has sort of helped in healing that bitterness from the people who felt how they felt that time?
Yeah, thank you very much. I hear you well. I'll give you an example. When you have a boil, you don't treat the boil by smearing good scented oil on it. You have to press a boil. Handshake was very bitter, but we had to go that route to agree that there is a state of nation. There is a precedent in place. We are losing time. We are wasting time. We are losing lives. We are losing properties. Pride that came with the resisting to negotiate would have not helped anyway. It has helped both sides heavily at the end of it, but it was very painful to begin. Negotiating and agreeing with people that you perceive are in power and are not supposed in power. Whereas the laws are very clear that when somebody has been inaugurated to be the president, has been given the sword and the instruments of power, that is your president, whatever route he goes. It was very, very painful at the beginning that Raila could not face his own people, including myself, that now, gentlemen, this is where we are. We need to talk. We allowed him to talk, but we were very bitter inside. But because of the sacrifice of putting our pride and bitterness aside, Kenya is breathing today. William Ruto can have his tickets paid to the US. 1,000 of his concubines are flocking around with him. We don't even have an audit where a presidential deputy president has gone for 5-10 days outside. We don't even have a report on how that visit has helped the country. And that is another thing that we are coming to after that.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Engineer Otieno. Gladwell Kiruga, your thoughts on the handshake?
Thank you, Miriam. I think Engineer has said most, but on a lighter note, only a fool could not recognize that our country was burning. And when Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, decided to do the handshake, it did end the crisis and led to sign of progress in our country. And what the Deputy President feared after the handshake is because Raila Odinga'S, what he did exhibit his confidence and his ability to lead our beloved country. And hence, afterwards, what the Deputy President has been doing, he has been having the bitterness which transferred to him. And in all his speeches, whenever he get a chance, what he do, he just insults the former Prime Minister, something in his position he should not be doing. I submit.
All right, thank you. Daniel Wesunga.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miriam Ogutu. And of course, yesterday we were able to get the submission of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. And you could actually see the composure and the kind of maturity that was actually trickling from the gentleman. And you'll know that this is a person who is actually mature enough to take the mantle of leadership from President Uhuru Kenyatta and be able to carry forward his legacy into the next phase that this country needs to achieve its economic prosperity, be a regional hub when it comes to the economic and bilateral relations. Also to enhance peace, stability, and the integration of the region. And therefore, we can only compare it with the performance, the dismal performance of William Ruto in the US and in the UK, and be able to make a very, very sane decision come the August of this year. And of course, I'll urge my countrymen to put the future of this country before them and put their interests back for a moment and be able to see where this country is headed. And if they do not intervene and make wise decisions on who becomes the next CEO of this country, then we will have lost a country and a whole generation. So to me, Miriam, I believe these engagements abroad are actually a clear reflection of what Kenya has, what choice Kenyans are presented with. And therefore, I believe we can only make the best choice that is before us on the table, and that is by electing Raila Amolo Odinga. I submit.
Okay, thank you so much. Doc, back to you, the issue of handshake.
Thank you very much. The handshake is one of the things that I have on the left-hand side. Engineer Otieno might not know he knows one side. But I want to tell him that the other side, engineer.
Yes, sir.
I'm the one who was behind some of the things quietly. You remember I've been saying redemption strategy. What is the handshake? Handshake is a redemption strategy. Okweyonja, okwenaba, omutima. You see, I'm speaking Luganda. You know, every time I touch that thing, reconciliation, it brings me, you know why? It brings me a lot of hope. Because look at me. I'm here. I can smile to President Museveni when we meet at AU. But the things that have been done to me, I don't carry them to African Union. I smile. That's what I am. So a handshake, I've struggled, and I continue struggling to make sure that it works. And the handshake medium is going to be one of the great things in Africa today. I want to thank Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta for having brought this thing to full conclusion. I don't want to lie to you. I have hijacked it. And I'm not going to tell the leaders how I've hijacked it, Otieno. The only thing that I will ask Otieno is also to contribute 2 chapters in my book so that we can hijack it. It is one of the best theories that students of African politics will ever study in London School of SOAS, School of Oriental and African Studies. I must leave a history there that I brought the handshake today and said it is the best alternative system to African government. Otieno, Kiruku, Daniel and Miriam, do you know you are going of August. Do you really know what elections are in Africa? You yourselves. All of us on this panel, we are going to vote. Very few of us academically we know. Yes, Miriam knows. Otieno knows. And Kruger, it's go and cast the vote. After casting the vote, you are beaten. You are beaten. On 10th, Ruto will send people to beat us. You know, some of us have been told that you pack your goods at midnight past 9th. When they declare Ruto, Matsanga must be on the flight. And is that elections? Is that election in Africa? That you have already warned Otieno that when we win, your business must be burned down. You better close. Is that election? Is Africa? What is election? They confuse people. Most people in Africa confuse election with democracy. The two are different. And from the point of Socrates, Aristotle, I have never seen where they told you should hold elections every 5 years. Where is it? Show me one book. Show me. Plato. Go and read the Plato Republic. Does it tell you every 5 years elect a leader? Does China elect a leader? I'm asking my panel today, is there elections in China? Show me one MP with a briefcase loaded. Like everybody in Kenya is leaving in Nairobi to go to the rural area to campaign to become an MP. Is there an MP in China? If you find one MP in China roving around Africa with a briefcase, bring him for firing squad in Beijing. Because it's not there. The Chinese sit down. That is the policy that Ruto does not know. That Raila Odinga'S and Uhuru Kenyatta want to bring a good policy of us. Winner, no winner, we are Kenyans. Isn't it? After elections, we are Kenyans. Every part of Kenya must have a share. Every part of Shanghai, Shongut, Gungu, Nguyangwen must have a share. Isn't it that is the social, that's why China has made progress. It lends us money. We are enjoying even the roads. I can't say I'm not enjoying Chinese money. I always drive on Thika Road, going on Kiambu Road and going everywhere. This is China money. Don't say I don't enjoy China money. Then you go and find your own route in Sungoi. And drive in Sungoi in the gardens there, in the bushes. There is no MP. A handshake is the best alternative for Africa. And Miriam, believe me or not, it is going to be a model. If I can give you how many countries in Africa are asking for the documents that Uhuru Kenyatta and Ananim formed, they are about 7 now. I've got telephone calls and emails. Zimbabwe is on the pipeline. You will see. Tanzania is finished. All opposition leaders in Tanzania who went to Canada, another one who was crying here with Professor Wachikoya, they are back in Dar es Salaam. Have you seen that? Handshake. Handshake. Zimbabwe is just a few meters away, and then you will see a handshake. No African country can afford to have a data election. Do you know what? A data election causes. Did you know one mistake that we might make? Otieno and Miriam and Kiruga and Wesonga. If you look at all the military coups that are taking place in West Africa, one of the most contentious issues is elections. You get that? Is elections. Be careful. Kenyans, don't arouse sleeping dogs. People are annoyed. You can't insult the president and walk around. You go and cheat their money and walk around and tell them, I'm giving you what I have stolen. What will you do? That's what Ruto has done. And you turn around and say, I was not told about this handshake. Look at Otieno. Otieno is there. He's telling you frankly that they were annoyed. They were aggrieved. The election was done something wrong. Look, he has just told you. But they allowed their leader of the party, when he said he wants to go for, and he came with a package of peace process, they agreed. Who are we to oppose? Uhuru did a good thing. What reminds me of the tear gas Otieno is a gentleman with a very big dog. You know, you remember that gentleman with a very well-fed dog. He came up today, opposite the police station. I remember that picture so well. And you see, anybody who has not seen that picture should just keep, please, Ruto, just embrace, move on. The good news as I end, the handshake, as we wait for the Supreme Court, Miriam, is going to deliver. The Supreme Court verdict will shock the world. And you never know. It is the same cornerstone that you rejected could be very useful for Ruto. You know, Ruto doesn't know how to give power in his own order. Have you seen this morning everybody is saying they are going? Have you read the press? People are asking Mudavadi, what did we go in this for? Ruto has gone back in Wetangula's backyard, removed the governor of Trans Nzoia, removed the executive of Ford Kenya to join UDA. So in a nutshell, Miriam, Wetangula has remained with nothing. The other one is remaining with few relatives, more or less relatives. So they're asking, we came in this, why didn't we do our thing like the Azimio? The Azimio people were open. They said it is a coalition. But Kwanza is not yet a coalition. It's not a coalition at all. It is not yet, because Mudavadi has no role in Kwanza to play. It is not formalized. You have gone for a UDA candidate. Then why did you move to Kenya Kwanza? If you were going to be a Kenya Kwanza coalition, you should think of a Kenya Kwanza, not Uhuru is not thinking of Jubilee candidature. Mudavadi has not said he doesn't want a candidate. His people are saying we are still on ballot. He hasn't declared. That's why now Ruto tactfully has gone back and removed the executive to resign. Some are going to Wamalwa's party. So Wetangula has found himself almost left with Lusaka. Because some people have said if the governor, the former governor who sold the wheelbarrow for, in fact, why do you blame Lusaka for joining Ruto? Lusaka bought the biggest wheelbarrow in the world history.
The most expensive.
That cost 100,000 per wheelbarrow. You remember? Mm-hmm. And it was saved by Uhuru. And then today he says Uhuru is bad, very bad. Another crisis which you must go as we finish. We have a crisis in this country that, as Miriam was saying in the morning, all the MPs are strangers in the house. In their own chamber. They are strangers. Luckily enough, Kenya is a very great country. The Constitution allowed a panel of speakers. Have you seen? Because now Muturi can resign and Nani can resign, Lusaka, and then we can have Magrel and Cheboy as speakers of parliament. So let's see how things work. But I am telling you, the handshake, I have taken it. I'm part of it. I am happy it is. If people don't know what it means by handshake, is a redemption strategy, which creates healing, reconciliation, reparation, restitution, truth-telling, and accountability. If you have those, Kenya will move, and Kenya will move forward. I thank Raila Odinga. And perhaps, before we go, Miriam, there's that tape which is, I was told I should play it back.
Yes,
and before yesterday,
yes,
alert Stephen, that thing that we did yesterday of a takeaway.
All right, and Doc, before you conclude for us, I wanted to get a takeaway from the panelists this morning. So a quick one. I'll start with you, Engineer Otieno. Your takeaway from the show today.
Engineer.
My takeaway from this. Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam, for having me again. I will be very, very particular in the areas of my takeaways. I'm very much impressed with the level of speed the youth of this country, including you, my brother Daniel, and my good sister, very humble, Gladwell Karuga, on how we are achieving our participation in political management, political processes, and political development of this country. And I will be very frank with you that we have woken up. I'm youth, yes, but I'm a maturing youth. I'm doing 49, I think. We have witnessed the level of maturity in terms of how we articulate issues. I've listened to Daniel. I don't know, maybe he's an orator because he's a journalist, but is well briefed, well informed. He brings it very clean. That is why I didn't want to talk too much yesterday, and even today you discover I'm a bit guarded. And our takeaway today is how we are able to look through the facts as accurately presenting and the half-truth. I don't want to say they are lies. Some of them, they are made in a way that you can believe they are true. The half-truths that are coming from both the high contenders of these elections. We have one Raila Odinga on the other side. We have one William Samuel Ruto on the other side. People who have worked together. People who have voted before together. People who have worked in one government, but are now selling their ideas and ideologies to the country. The country has woken up to listen to people freely. We don't stop people from talking. But the youth today is heavily engaged in synchronizing how they want to be governed, how they think it is safe to choose who will safeguard and protect the integrity of the nation and where we are in terms of economical development. It is a sorry state. Even before I put my takeoffs on the table, Miriam, I'm very much worried that we have been put under the cluster of IMF supervision and observation in terms of our loans. And one thing that came out in these trips, the two trips, is that one did not guarantee to the Chinese government how the existing loan would be paid. That is very important because it will catch up with us now talking today. But one went out there and assured, of course with a rider and an indemnity, that we will form an audit, do an audit analysis to see the loan aggregate and accuracy in terms of how much is owed by Kenya to the external world. There are 3-4 different types of loans. There are grants, loans that come from China, loans that come from IMF, loans that come from African Development Bank, and the developed world where we get donors coming in either in form of grants and donations that are given in exchange of programs and interests that they run within the country. And we are woken up as youth now to be very sensitive that because it will catch up with us tomorrow, we want to be involved in the processes that brings together bilateral engagement where our countries are engaged the foreign world. We have come to realization that even as we participate in this discussion today, I wish even the British government could be listening today through their foreign envoys. They should be listening to me. We don't want to be colonized anymore. We are a free democracy. We want to be guided by the truth that we are now engaging country to country, sovereignty versus sovereignty. The interest of Britain today in Kenya, where we are giving them land to train their soldiers, it is because we want to have a continuous engagement. And that is why we have discovered today from your readings, Madam Miriam, that even the incoming, God help us, the incoming president is embracing the current president to proceed with diplomatic foreign policies that are in place, improved, developed, or maintained as they are. President Uhuru Kenyatta has been invited, and that is why even the US, we have seen, they're doing so well, even in their decision making. You realize that they invite 3, 4, 5 presidents from the current to come and think through when our country is in a situation. Right now, we have foreign influx. You remember the other day, there was Afghanistan. When the Americans pulled out from Afghanistan, our country, sister country here, Uganda, inviting the African leaders. I'm inviting people into my country, what it does to the boundaries. So for my learning on this, if I don't go further to talk too much, I know we have time, I am very much happy that the youth today, we can look through issues, we can read what Raila says, we can correct him, because it is us who are going to be led. We are not following Raila blindly. We are guiding him to think right. And I'm happy to have people like my good friend Dr. Masanga, who speaks his mind out. And that is how you go to heaven. When you keep lying under your identity, you speak. You didn't speak to Museveni what is supposed to be right. You saw his brother messing up the country the other day. Dr. Masanga came out so loud. I came out so loud. Now the country is coming to its sense. We have discovered that we have a generational change. We have youthful leadership coming in. We see Junet very, very much highly presenting with Raila Odinga abroad, articulating the matters of the future generation. It has come to a time that we are not going to allow our people representing us, for us in high authorities, to lie about us and lie about us tomorrow. Raila Odinga has stood out, he has spoken, and by the way, as I close, Raila Odinga is not fighting for an ambition. Raila Odinga is fighting for a quest. A quest is a journey of achievement that begins when your vision is grown, you bring more vision and you start walking the path of that quest. Raila Odinga wants to see why he went to jail, why democracy has to be embraced, multipartyism has to be embraced, free corruption, free zone has to be embraced, and even having funds coming from the national executive level to the grassroots, where Mama Mboga, that people want to give wheelbarrow, can actually have an ATM and say, I know my bank balance. That is where we are going.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Very well said. Engineer Otieno, thank you. Gladwell Kiruga, your take out from today's show.
Thank you so much, Mary. And I like what engineer has said, like he says most of the things. But let me, talk on something that happened yesterday, what the Deputy President yesterday said, which I term it as an incitement to a Kenyan. He told the border riders when he was in Gara that they should go to the police station and get their motorcycles back. I had a chance to talk to a few yesterday, and you can see the bitterness they had following what the president said on the crackdown. But what our deputy president did was so wrong, so wrong. And let me talk of the border industry. It is whereby so many thieves, criminals are hiding in. And I, being a victim, it happened once. And I know what these guys are capable of. Yes, they're the good ones, but you'll see, you get to know the true colors of these riders when an incident has happened. The thinking capacity of all of them are just the same. So what yesterday he did was so wrong. It was like he's supporting the act that happened previously. I submit.
Very well Oh, thank you so much. I was just mad about that unnecessary traffic. I don't know why they choose to do these rallies in certain places and during weekday. That wasn't appropriate, but you know what? Daniel Wasonga, you take out from the show.
Thank you so much, Miriam Ogutu. And of course, I've been listening to my seniors, Engineer Otieno Pande, Dr. Matsanga David, and of course, my sister, Gladwell Kiragu. And mine, I wouldn't want actually more to dilute, especially whatever Dr. Matsanga David and the engineer have already talked about, because I believe they have brought out the very, very quintessential points that we need to know about going forward to the election. And therefore, mine will just be to reinforce whatever my sister Gladwell Kiragu has talked about, that young people should not be driven to act through emotions. They should not be misused by politicians to maybe achieve their own selfish gains. And therefore, we should be very, very sober. And if anything is to go by, then we should listen to whatever words of wisdom, to whatever points of concern that Dr. Matsanga is ever raising on this platform, that my good brother, Engineer Otieno Pande, has raised in regarding to all that are actually going for this top seat come August this year. So, Miriam, to me, I believe truth sets people free, and that is even in the Bible. They say that say the truth and it shall set you free. And therefore, I thank Dr. Matsanga, David, and other stakeholders who have maintained that path of truth and making this particular platform or this TV station to be a channel where truth can be actually be put out there, so that at the end of the day, the Kenyan people can be able to make an informed choice. And remember, it is out of this informed choice that comes proper leadership, a leadership which is accountable, and a leadership which is of quality and equal to the expectation of the people. Miriam, I submit.
Thank you. Doc, end it for us.
Thank you very much, viewers. Every time
Okay, we apologize for that. We apologize for that technical hitch. We seem to have suffered a bit of a technical hitch there from a doctor's side, and so he was to make his a final submission. So we apologize for that truly, but we are done on the show, and all right. Okay, I don't think it will be possible for Dr. Matsanga to give his final submissions right now. Thank you so much, Engineer Otieno. Thank you, Daniel Wasonga. Thank you, Gladwell Kiruga and Dr. Matsanga for your contribution today. Doc, I see you back. Are you back? Okay. All right, so we don't have him, so I think I'll just end here. Thank you so much for your time.
I'm back on Odo in darkness.
Sorry, we
I
apologize.
put on another. Miriam, are you hearing me now?
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Miriam?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Can hear you,
I
Doc?
can hear you.
We can hear you.
We can hear, yes. Tell him we can hear him from here. So just go ahead, Doc, and make your submissions.
Yes. Studio back in Nairobi, I can't hear you.
Engineer, could you tell him to just continue with his submission, because we can hear him, it will be captured.
If you submit, we are hearing you, we will hear you, all of us. Just go ahead, Dr. Rick.
Okay. Thank you very much. Viewers, I would like to make one point now. It is unfortunate that you might not see me properly, but here we are. There is no country in the world that can survive without a handshake, without peace, without reconciliation. Germany was built on millions and millions of dead bodies. Oh, here we come back again. I think you can see me now fully.
Yeah,
Let me begin afresh. There is no country in the world that can survive without peace. Peace is the pinnacle of any salvation, any development, any economic policy that you want to make. Good economic policies don't translate to peace. They create more anxiety. The handshake, therefore, which His Excellency, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, and the President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta made is very important, significant to the policies, the center of the central points that we have in Kenya. You can talk, you can vote, you can campaign, you can buy voters like what Ruto is doing, buy every leader to come to your side like what he's doing, but without peace, you cannot conclude the mission of a nation. Therefore, Raila Odinga'S, in choosing to take a step forward for peace, therefore, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, for choosing to take peace, they put their nation above every petty differences. It is therefore very important for the people of Kenya and those listening to us across the diplomats listening to this program to make sure that the peace that Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta got is kept. The new men that are coming, people, the new group who are making speeches, those speeches don't help. They are liars. They lie. Ruto lies. Ruto makes lies every minute. Every time he opens his mouth, if you can see the type of lies, we don't want to call Kenya like Nigeria, because it is a country that is very far in terms of morality. But there is one thing that brings me to the final axis of our conversation. Resignation from a position does not need constitutionalism. Resignation from a position needs character and conscience. If you are conscious, if you have character, if you are brought from a good home, a Christian home like mine, a Christian home that values the values of a Bible, 10 Commandments, if you find things that are not working, you step aside, you resign. Therefore, the character of the Deputy President, the conscience of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya is rotten, shambolic, derailed, prudish, sardonic, that it should not be allowed to taint the 5 months left for Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and his legacy. He should step aside, allow Uhuru Kenyatta to proceed for a smooth transition. Analysts is saying there might be no smooth transition because whom is going to hand him the sword? If you sell to Uhuru Kenyatta, he might not appear for the sword. Therefore, the ceremony might not be there. Because I don't see any provision, my panel and Miriam, the host, I don't see any provision in the Kenyan constitution that says in case the president has refused to, you have to force the other one to come. You haven't put it in the constitution. Go and look at the handing over ceremony of that sword. If the other one refuses to acknowledge the elections, that is the end of it, and they will not hand over. Therefore, what are we talking about? Mine is the trip of the Prime Minister to United Kingdom was a peaceful trip, a trip that we liked, that brought Kenya's map position on the world map. continue doing the good job, Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Prime Minister. In Azimio la Umoja, we have you as our guiding star. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much. And that is where we end our show today. Thank you, Dr. David Matanga, Engineer Otieno, Daniel Wesonga, and Gladwell Kiruga. I'll see you here back at 3 p.m. East African time with more news from across the continent. My name is Miriam Ogoto. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye for now.
Viewers across the continent of Africa and in Kenya, President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, together with Prime Minister Raila Odinga'S, took a handshake which brought about tranquility, peace, freedom of movement in all parts of Kenya without any discrimination. Today, Kenya is peaceful because the two stood together and gave it a chance under a united umbrella. Today, Kenya sounds, infrastructure, the economy, things are coming up because they are united. Azimio la Umoja is unity. It's like Chama Mapinduzi in Tanzania when it says Ujamaa. Ujamaa villages in Tanzania brought about unity of purpose. The unity that brought Tanzanians to understand that they are not tribes. That is the Kenya we want. Our worry today, the speech that was made by His Excellency, the Deputy President, has threatened the security of the President of the Republic of Kenya. Time has come to separate the two and to be honest, candid, tell the world and the Kenyans that the time has come for one of them, not one of them, but the Deputy President to leave government and concentrate on his party and allow President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to have his 5 months and to prepare for a smooth transition to the new leadership, whoever will come after elections. The type of disruption that we have seen, the type of belittling, the type of besmirching the name of the president, the type of targeting has become an insecurity itself. Insecurity is not a mere picking a gun or picking a panga or a stick to beat. Insecurity comes through words of hatred towards the president and the head of state. Are Kenyans seeing this? We talk about corruption. President Uhuru Kenyatta has tried his level best, but the biggest man who wants to become a victim is Ruto, who has been associated. If you Google Ruto, you will see the name comes out, corruption, corruption, corruption. Is this the man that people want to live in this country? I am not a voter in this country, but I have followers across this country, millions that hear my voice for the last 11 years. Can you make a choice on that day? A choice. And that choice is the people, a person who will serve this country, a united country, give Kenya a united image, so as to integrate with East Africa and make a better Africa. That is the Kenya, and that is Azimio la Umoja of Raila Odinga'S, who can unite this country, leave this country as Kenya, not a country dismembered by Ruto's policies. I submit.